In the gospel for today, we hear how the disciples of Jesus ought to act and relate to one another. At first glance, his words make demands that seem possibly impossible in the world of today. And yet, we are called as Jesus' present-day disciples to make these words of Jesus real. We heard in the gospel that when conflict and division arises over the hurt that we do to one another, intentional or unintentional, then peace is to be established by the party that has been hurt or offended and the offender. If this fails, one should call upon the help of 2 or 3 other Christian witnesses so that the wrong can be set right. Peace may be established within the community. And if that doesn't work, we hear that the whole Christian community, the church, should be called upon to make a decision over the matter. The Christian offender who refuses to accept what the community decides is to be sent away from the community itself. In essence, he or she is arrogantly refusing to live by the basic law of Christianity, and that is the law of love. But the underlying question is the Christian who refuses the authority of the community, the church, to be shunned and cast aside, or to be the subject of outreach and concern in imitation of Jesus, who was so interested in searching out tax collectors that he was called their friend? As Jesus will shortly tell Peter, one must forgive one's brother 77 times. That is an infinite number of times. And so we have this dichotomy. Jesus tells us one thing in this passage, and then he's going to tell us another. The Christian community has its own authority, but it is exercised in a way which proclaims that it flows from Jesus' law of love. The members of the church, the members of the community, should have a quality of life among them that makes people outside of the community say, "See how they love one another. I want to be part of that community." As a church, we must be inviting. We cannot be exclusive and standoffish. This must be preserved as it repeats in Christian life, the lifestyle of Jesus himself. For he said, "Love one another as I have loved you." Based on this love command, the binding and loosing in the community will reflect the binding and loosing which God requires from us. To survive, the church must be a society existing among other societies. But if we are to be true to Jesus, his life, and his teaching, then we must sometimes act in a way that other institutions regard as foolishness. To search out and to care for those who refuse the authority of the institution or organization could be seen as an end to itself. But that was the way of Jesus. That is the way of Jesus. We will always need the presence of Jesus to give us the courage to live and love in such a way. That is why Jesus finishes his instructions in today's gospel passage with a command to constant prayer and a reminder that when we gather, just as we do now, together in his name, he is there in the midst of us. May we never forget that.